Today we're going to install a 12 volt lithium battery system into the Jeep. The question is, do we need to go to this extent and replicate this in that? Stay tuned. Hey guys, I'm Daryl, welcome to the channel. Storage systems for the back of the Jeep. I've previously done a video where I was after a lightweight storage solution for the back of this thing. We don't run with the Suit anymore, and I was just after something where it gave us more storage than just the floor area on the Jeep. And to get that, I've added a Bestop internal racking system that hangs off the roll bar. It's got a 35 kilo weight limit on it, and we just use it to put lightweight bulky goods, so you know, jumpers, jackets, caps, camera gear, my partner's handbag when we go away, and we find it really good for that. We don't need to put anything over it, the sides hold everything in, and you can just get in the vehicle, turn around, throw it on this, and it's also easy to get back out rather than rummaging through whatever's on the floor behind the front seats. The other thing that lives in the back of this vehicle is a fridge on a fridge slide. The fridge slides are just a generic one. It will take a much bigger fridge than this, but it was cheap and it works, and it's quite heavy, but they all are. I've got a Waco 40 litre fridge. This thing's as old as God, and it just works and continues to work, and whilst it does, we'll make good use of it. In this vehicle, if we're going away in the camper, we'll make one of the fridges a freezer, depending on our thoughts. Generally we'd have this as a fridge so we could put, you know, drinks and things like that, so if we stop somewhere we can just grab a cold water or something out of this, and in the camper we'll make the 32 litre fridge that I've got in that a freezer. So you know, either or, we've got the options to do that, but that's how we work with the fridges and freezers in the camper and the Jeep. Up until now, to power this, I've run a 40 amp Dometic all-in-one. It's a PLB 40. It's got its own BC-DC unit within the box. It's got an AC input, 12 volt input. It will also take unregulated solar into it, and the outputs are a 2-prong fridge output, a cigarette lighter, and 2 USB sockets. I'm not saying that that's been the perfect unit. It has broken down once, it needed a new circuit board, but since then it's worked faultlessly. I do know a few other people that have those units and watch this channel have said yes, we've had similar problems. I don't know how they've got on though. At 40 amps it's quite a small battery system, and up until now I've just thrown it behind the back seats when we go away. So I wanted to mount a lithium battery system in this vehicle, and it was, well, do I use that because I already own it? Do I put in a bespoke BC-DC system with a 100 amp battery? I do have a Red Arc BC-DC system here, the 20 amps or something, but yeah, what do I do? From my perspective, there's a couple of reasons why I'd use the 40 amp Dometic system. Because it's all in one, it's a small brick, it weighs 9 kilos, wiring is easy, I don't have to mount separate units and have wiring going to them. I know the 40 amp Dometic system will run this fridge for 2 days, so 48 hours, or just about 48 hours. By being a 40 amp battery, it also means that it'll charge faster. So to charge it, I could use a solar system. I'm currently looking at a solar system, and if that company would get back to me, it would be really nice. But how I'm going to use that battery is to have it on a switchable 12 volt current, so that when we're driving the Jeep, it will be charging the battery. And being 40 amps instead of 100 amps, which would be the battery that you'd probably buy to replace it, it'll take less than half the time to get it up to charge. So in my mind, it's like, well, if I've got 2 days of running the fridge on the battery, if I use this vehicle a lot, it should keep it fairly well charged, but time will tell on that one. I haven't gone down that path before, and this is a little bit of an experiment here. The other reason why I'd like to use that battery pack over the Red Arc BC-DC system is that also gives me an AC input. It has a separate brick for the AC charger. However, I can mount that next to the battery and have just an AC cord in the back of the Jeep where I open the tailgate, plug it into an extension lead in the garage, and it will just charge it. One of the things with the Red Arc Red Vision system in the camper that was a massive game changer compared to the 100 amp battery I had before with the smaller Red Arc BC-DC system was the fact that to connect it to shore power, all I had to do was plug in an extension lead. Instead of going and getting a battery charger, connecting it to the terminals on the battery, you know, putting the charger somewhere, it was an absolute game changer. And to have that ability in this, whereas if I decide I'm riding the bike for a couple of days and I'm not going to drive the Jeep, I can just open the tailgate and plug it in an extension lead to the charger, which will charge the battery and keep it floating. So I think that's a really good outcome. You see a lot of videos where people are putting you know, systems like what we've got in the camper in their vehicles. If you're using your vehicle as a camper van where it does everything, I think it's probably a good thing because you will use it. It's basically, you know, your caravan or camper in your vehicle. But if you've just got a vehicle where the only thing you're running is your fridge, I don't think you need that complex a system. You want to keep it as simple as possible. And for me, that 40 amp Dometic all-in-one system seems to work. Of course, if something happened to that and I had to replace it, you'd probably replace it with something that had a 100 amp battery in it, maybe. But it'll be interesting to see how that works and how quickly that charges. My commute to the office, if I take the vehicle, it takes about an hour to get there and an hour home, so you've got 2 hours charging. It'll just be really interesting to see how it goes. So that's what we're going to use in this to power the fridge. Now, the places on where to mount this battery, I've got a fairly large flat area here that is the length of the cargo area. However, that was always designed for our inflatable kayak. That fits in, and my recovery gear. I didn't want to mount it there. My other option was to mount the battery here, and whilst that would have been good, it's also very hard to get to if the sides are on the soft top. And this battery, I could plug my phone into it or things like that. Because that's a rolled design, I'd also have to make a leg for the tray. So that kind of went out the window. Where I have decided to mount this though is on top of the plastic desktop racking system. Whilst this is plastic, I did come across on eBay this stainless steel battery tray made for the PLB40 Dometic system. What I'll do is I'll link to it down below. This tray was 50 bucks on eBay and it works really well. You strap the battery down to this. I was a bit concerned about putting it up there because this is 9 kilos and you wouldn't like it to break away in an accident or something and float around the cab. However, with the surface area of the mounting tray, I've also put underneath it some fairly substantial strapping that spreads the load of it and sandwiches the plastic tray between two metal objects. I think it'll be fine. It's solid as a rock. And what it also means is from the back of the vehicle, I can get to the USB ports and cigarette lighter and things like that. So it actually works out quite well sitting there. Now the question arose, where do I get switchable power from for that? I could use the Hardtop's Demister outlet at the back of the Jeep because I never run the hardtop. Now the only issue is if I used that Demister outlet, I'd have to have the Demister switch on all the time, which means there'd be a light going, which would drive my OCD nuts. So behind the glove box lid just comes off. It's the fuse panel for the Jeep, and I've used one of these adder circuit jumpers, which you can jump into an existing fuse, but in this instance I've got a spare 20 amp socket here and a spare 10 amp socket there, and if I insert that into the 20, I've got switchable power, which means that when the vehicle's off, there's no power going to the fridge. The fridge can just run on the battery itself. However, when the vehicle's switched on or running, it's charging the battery pack. So that's where I've got power from for this. So that's worked out quite well. It doesn't take up too much space here. We've still got plenty of space to put jackets and everything like that. It's mounted exceptionally solid. It's not going to go anywhere. As I said, I have put in underneath it some strapping to provide some added surface area for the mounts, and it means the actual plastic tray is sandwiched between some fairly sizable mounts. The AC charger I've just cable tied next to the unit, and the AC plug is around the back of the Jeep. So I can just open the tailgate and plug in an extension lead in the garage if I need to. But I'm hoping I won't need to. The only thing I wouldn't mind changing is this cable that runs to the fridge. Because the fridge is on a slide, it has to have room to slide back. And if I made it longer, I could route it and make it look a lot nicer. But apart from that, I think it's worked out quite well. For the moment, that's the end of the cargo area fit out. I'm hoping this battery, with the amount of use this vehicle gets, will power this fridge 24/7. We'll always have, you know, a fridge available without much input from me. But it does get used a lot, so it'll be interesting to see how it goes. But I will report back on this. In other news, the Jeep is running absolutely faultlessly. That timing chain that I replaced, the slack timing chain, has fixed all the error codes. It's running like a new one. Yeah, got to be happy with that. So there's a few other things that I've got in the garage ready to go on the Jeep. I've been holding back on that, trying to fix these error codes in the background, but now everything's back to normal. We'll get back into fitting all that stuff and upgrading some stuff. So that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time. Bye now.